Well, this is bumpy bumper music, huh? I'm Marky Bilson, Tri-City Sports Now. Try to give you some information here on the Thunder Valley schedule. Today is qualifying. They've been qualifying since 10 a.m. up in Bristol at the Dragway. I've always enjoyed that. I've been to the Dragway, I've got to tell you, only about one time, but it was a very enjoyable, and I was there by myself, just right, this is just something to do. And I became captivated. It was always some rooting interest when you had the drag, what car looks better? Which one is a mate? With sort of, even if you didn't really have a rooting interest or follow this that much, it was pretty cool. It was pretty decent. One of the stories, Jeff Birchfield talked about this, Barry Brown and Carson, they are from Bluntville, and they're going to be qualifying in the top dragster division for the NHRA Fitzgerald Thunder Valley Nationals. And they're going to try to actually make it as a father and son combo, if you will. So look for the Browns from Bluntville if you're looking for somebody to root for at Thunder Valley. Now, tomorrow it begins 8 a.m. with sportsman eliminations. The qualifying continues basically throughout the day. There are eliminations beginning at 2:40 for factory stock, and then at 2:45 for pro mod, but it goes throughout the day. Then on Sunday, the eliminations begin at noon. Gates open on Sunday at 8:30. 10:30 a.m. is a track walk. 11 a.m. the pre-race ceremonies. So there you have it there from Thunder Valley. Should be a fun event. They had a media event that I would have attended, except they held it at noon. Guys, you want some coverage here, you got to take care of me too. I'm not canceling this show. I got listeners here. I got a commitment to them more than I do, oh yeah, put me in a car and let's have fun, which I would have loved to have done, but nevertheless, I got commitment, hardworking, Bilson, giving it to you. So some other guys, they may go chuck around for the glory. My glory is here. And Tri-City Sports Now is most glorious. Wanted to also say, talked a little bit, I said MMA. Did you see this where MMA, they've now signed Greg Hardy, former D lineman for the Jaguars, remember him. He's not the first football player to try MMA. I remember Carlton Hasselrig, actually got to know him and do some stories on him when he was going after into MMA after, at the age of 42, and he was somewhat successful in it too. Hasselrig was quite an athlete. Actually, Hardy also played, of course, most people around here remember him with Carolina Panthers. I think it's the Jaguars. Forgive me. I think he both came in 1995. Anyway, he won his first bout in 57 seconds this past week. So, one of the things I do think about MMA, could a football player turn to MMA? What will that do for the sport? I think it'll help it. Although you do wonder, every sport wants to say, we have the best athletes, or we have top of the line athletes. When you're having old football player in MMA, it's hard to say you got the best athletes. Just saying it. But he signed to a deal. Meanwhile, Conor McGregor, he expressed regret yesterday for a backstage melee in Brooklyn. It was in an arena. He's in plea negotiations to resolve criminal charges. The 29-year-old from Ireland. And co-defendant Cian Cowley remains free on bail after a brief court appearance. Case hasn't been presented to a grand jury for a possible indictment because of the plea negotiations, signaling interest from all sides in just getting rid of the matter. Men were in some halfway decent suits of blue. Didn't say much in court. Yeah, this is going to be a nothing. This is going to be a real nothing. I got to be honest with you here. It's going to be a real nothing. I'll tell you what isn't a real nothing. I was talking yesterday, and yeah, here's the first rule of sports talk. I don't know if I did it so much in the first, in that last segment where I was like, you decide and all this, but, and I somewhat hesitate to talk about this, but I think it's important. And, okay, there's a fellow talk show host none of you have heard of. We're in Tennessee. I mean, I could tell you his name if you will. I used to write with him at the Post-Gazette. And so he's doing it in my own hometown of Pittsburgh, okay? And again, I kind of hesitate because, again, I don't want to be doing a show in East Tennessee relating to Pittsburgh. But I thought that this was relating to all kinds of circumstances. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do this. I didn't think that I would, but I'm going to go off the cuff, and I'm going to do it this way, because I've got enough to talk about in what I'm talking about. What's he talking about? I'm saying it's going to be time now, yes, right now, for Media Watch. I could talk about a couple of really lousy Enterprise stories in the Johnson City Press, but I don't think I'm going to go there. But there were. I will say that one of our competitors, seen that Martavius Bryant he might get suspended for the entire year from the Raiders. Steelers traded him for a third-round draft choice. You had, rival talk show said, I wonder if that'll cost him a draft choice, as the way with Christian Hackenberg. I contacted my sources up there. Would this, mean that the Steelers wouldn't get their draft choice? I said, no, it's already happened. So, people wondering the damnedest things on other radio stations. This is why you listen to here. We try to keep it right. I know that I got Nationals and Reds mixed up yesterday, talking about, Justin Soto yesterday. I got the Nationals and the Reds mixed up. I do apologize for that, but I did correct it. And, you might want to check when the trades are made and when the draft choices are. But, there you go. Anyway, I wanted to point that out. Here was my media watch. I had a friend, and I hesitate to actually mention his name. Not that I'm really afraid of him, but nobody around here knows who he is. Anyway, tweeted out, and this is the local interest. Heath Miller from Southwest Virginia, Richland. It's a reputation of being a great guy. And the Steelers, as you may know, have now, since he has played, or maybe even before that, they seem to have a lot of crybabies. You have Le'Veon Bell pay me an absurd amount of money above the going rate for running back contribution. And, there was that incident that I missed an entire preseason game a few years ago because I was pulled over in my car smoking pot. Or was it that he had a lot of pot? One of the other, Well, legalize it, market, fine, but it isn't there, and it's not the best judgment in the world to be driving in such a car to the airport to go to a game. You've got Ben Roethlisberger, need I say more? I mean, there are a lot of, and I know that Cody Sunsaba said on the show, no, the Steelers, they're like a family here. You wonder what kind of family. It's almost getting to be like a crime family there. I didn't like it when Alejandro Villanueva was the one man to stand for the anthem, and he got criticized by his coach, Mike Tomlin, for not being with his team in the locker room. That's ridiculous. And then Villanueva apologized because of the way it was sent. I mean, what kind of an environment is that? Anyway, tell you what kind of an environment it is. Like I said, a lot of fans would say, oh boy, we wish there were more Heath Millers. And the writer came out and saying, you know what, that's racist, because you're saying it about a white player and not enough about some of the fine players of character such as Troy Polamalu who are not Caucasian. And I thought about this for a little bit. Race always a touchy subject. I'm sorry, you're trying to find hate where it doesn't exist there. I mean, now is it a matter of, wait a minute, quota system? Before I praise the character of this person, I must now find other people of different races and praise their character as well. Is this where we're going? Really? We can't just say somebody, they can't just be folks. I've got an idea. Martin Luther King said this. Let's judge people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. And once you do that, you're not going to notice if you say, you know what, Troy Polamalu is a great guy. You know what? And by the way, I covered the Steelers. I talked to Troy Polamalu a lot. I liked him a lot. And a really great sense of humor, too. Tell the story. So Heath Miller, from the area, relatively the TV market. I mean, it's an hour and a half drive from our studio where he's from. But yeah, I'm thinking, can we please, think of people of their character? We have to go to a quota system now for praise? Just bothered me. But really bothered me. And it got to the point where, and I know that when you're a sports talk show host, you're trying to make hard-hitting statements so that people will respond. Fellow co-worker of mine of the Post-Gazette actually compared a Heath Miller jersey to the Confederate flag. Okay? This is insanity. This is insanity. Tri-City Sports Now, it just bothers me to no end. I mean, where are we going on this? It's just awful. I got some World Cup notes to give you. I also can tell you there's going to be at least one first-round draft choice playing in the Appalachian League this year. I'm going to tell you who that is. And, of course, next week we're going to really double down on our Appalachian League coverage when we return on Tri-City Sports Now.